So thrilled to be here and to talk a little bit about unraveling some of the old programming um, through the Akashic records. So I know we're going to have everybody from, people who have been working in the Akash forever to people who may be really brand new in this realm. So I'll try and speak to everyone as best I can. So I am the author now of 4 Akashic record books. My latest one, Akasha, came out. Oh my, well, actually January 2023. So, things have just been speeding by in such a phenomenal way. And so, what I get and hear from the Akashic records is that this really is the time to start to deepen into the expanse of the Akash. So, I'll go back one step, especially since I'm the first speaker of the day. So I'll speak a little bit to what are the Akashic records and why should we even care? Who are our record keepers, right? And who are they not? So let me just do a quick rundown on that. So the Akashic record is the recording of your soul's journey through all time space continuum. From the moment that you individuated from source and became an individuated soul, the journey your soul went on has been recorded in a specific energy that we refer to as Akasha, the Akashic field, the Akashic records, all the same thing. It is a realm which is part of source energy and part of the quantum field. And the reason to me that the quantum field idea is so important is that there is no time and space in the quantum. So when we are accessing our Akashic records, we are actually moving outside of this 3D time space continuum into the field of quantum energy where we can change things, which is a very cool idea. So once we've moved into the Akash and into this quantum energy, we can read the books that are in our library, right? So I like to imagine the Akashic record as a library, and every single soul has its very own personal library filled with thousands and thousands and thousands of books all about you. So really, who doesn't want to go into that library and learn all about you? So it's not only, oh, have I been anyone famous, but what plan did my soul write for this lifetime? What can I know about that plan? What can I also understand about some of the soul contracts that are in the plan with other people? What other lifetimes have I had with them? Do we have karmic patterns to work through? What gifts and talents did I want to bring into this lifetime? So as we start to look at what is the Akashic record, which is this recording of you, this infinite recording of your soul's journey, you are complex. You have lived in so many different planes and dimensions in this journey. So most of us start in the very higher realms of, 20, the 20th dimension plus, right? We started as just galactic energetic beings. We truly are creator beings at our core. And as we traveled and journeyed through these worlds, through these dimensions, through these realms, many of us have not only been in galactic worlds, other planets, planes, dimensions, many of us have also been angelic humans in the 12th dimension. We have been some of the architects of this world. And so I want to dive a little bit more into that in just a little bit and do a collective group healing around what can we deprogram, what can we unwrite in the Akasha to support each and every one of us on the planet today. So part of your Akashic record is holding this information, these memories for you as you start to awaken. And one of the things the record keeper said to me 20 plus years ago when they asked me to start a school, they said, it is everyone's birthright to have access to their personal Akashic record. Now, as I was saying, everyone has their own personal record, their own library, right? You could look at it as a video library stored in the cloud or as a stone building somewhere in some etheric plane, whatever, you know, kind of works for you and your mind. It all comes down to the one thing is that you are ancient and you are infinite, and there is information for you. And not only is there information, but there are a whole team of Akashic record keepers. So I call them in general the record keepers, but there are beautiful beings of light who help us more with our earthly worlds. There are Akashic teachers who are here to help us with karmic patterns and learning and growing as a soul. There are Akashic masters who are here to support you in understanding purposes, gifts and talents, what you came to do and bring, as well as there are Akashic lords who are the beings of light who really are the keepers of your record. They would be the head librarian if you were going into a library. And so for me, the interesting thing about the Akashic Lords is the only time I actually end up speaking with them is when they say to me, and they usually come through energetically, kind of as a big booming voice, and they say to me, it's time to write another book. And so 4 times in these last, boy, not even that long. I'm like, oh, can I do that? Less than 10 years in the last, I have written 4 books about the Akashic records because they tap on my shoulder. They actually end up yelling at me, which is kind of funny. Because they say it's time to write a book, and they have to get my attention and get me to kind of focus on writing a book. And I always say to them, so what are we writing now? What are we writing about now? And so 4 books, 4 different pieces of information have come through in those 4 different books. So these beautiful Akashic record keepers, most of us, I'm going to say, have at least a dozen or so record keepers who speak to us and can communicate with us. And they're not angels. They are not ascended masters. They're no one you've ever known on this earth plane. So one of the things that I asked when I first started accessing the Akashic records was, right, who are you? Do I know you? And why are you talking to me? Right? So 25 plus years ago, when they started talking to me, the Akashic records were literally pretty unknown, right? As a matter of fact, my energy healer, healing teacher had said to me, every time you do an energy healing for a client and you clear out old energy, you leave a void. So you want to go up to their Akashic record, up to the gate of the records, and ask their record keepers to fill them up with their highest Akashic information now that there is a new space. But you cannot go into the Akash. It is off limits to humanity. So this is literally what I was taught over 30 years ago, that the Akashic records are there, but it's off limits to us. So imagine my surprise when, 5 or so years later, I get this information, huge, expansive information when I was doing an energy healing for a client. And I'd think, wow, what the heck is that? I'd see past lives and actually future energy and plans and just, it was phenomenal. It was really mind blowing to me. And so it took a couple years to actually move through the teaching I had learned from my teacher that we cannot access the Akash. Back then, again, there was probably hardly any people, 1, 2 people on in the US maybe, who were kind of talking about the Akashic records and even had ideas on how to access them. Many people were teaching just to meditate deeply enough, and then hopefully you'll end up in the Akashic records if you can raise your vibration high enough. And so it was an interesting time. And so I said to the record keepers when I realized who I was speaking to, and I said, why was I told that the energy was off limits to humanity? And their reply was because during the Dark Ages, so 1,000 years ago, they said we pulled the vibration away from Earth because humans were misusing the energy for their own gain. And so they said we had to raise the vibration. So the only people who could access the Akasha were really the spiritual teachers on the planet at that point, the monks, the seers, right, the oracles, that they could still access the Akash, but that regular people could not any longer because we were misusing it for our own gain, to win wars, to get people's gold, to find the jewels that they had buried. And so they said humanity is not at a place during the Dark Ages to have this access, but time will come again. And so they said to me, right, back in, this is 1990s, they said to me, the time has come. We have finally reached the edge again of the age of Aquarius, of this new golden age that is dawning. And so I have to say, I'm so excited that, 30 plus years later, it really is anchoring into the planet. And so what they requested of us at that point was to anchor the energy, to help to connect it back to Earth, to help actually energetically hold it so it was accessible. And that's when they asked me to start to teach people to access their own Akashic records. And at that point, I had 3 toddlers, and I told them that they were crazy and that they had the wrong woman. And I said, I think you've got the wrong person. So, why? Why would I do this? How could I do this? I don't understand, right? And so it was an interesting process. But they said to me, you were one of us. You were an Akashic record keeper in the beginning. So who are the record keepers? What they explained to me was that when we originally individuate from source, we are pure beings of energy, of light, of love, pure divine source. And then we choose where to go and what to do. And we go on these huge journeys, galactic journeys into other realms and other dimensions and other worlds. I would always say that it takes a long time before we choose to come to Earth, because Earth is a greater learning ground for us as souls. So we often play as creator beings and in other realms. But they said that that some souls choose to be in service to other souls by being record keepers, by moving into the vibration of the Akasha, to being these beings of light for the humans that are on the earth, and of course we have galactic records too. So keeping the records of souls that are in other places, planes, and dimensions. And so they said, you are one of us, so you can hear us, right? We're speaking, we are trying to speak to many, and not many are able to hear us at this point. Again, this was back in the 90s. And so with that knowing, with that energy and purpose kind of vibrating through my body, through my soul, I of course said, yes, I will help you. I will anchor the Akash back on the planet, help humanity to access this infinite wisdom. And so it was really at that point that I wrote my first book, which is called The Infinite Wisdom of the Akashic Records. And this is actually, you can find them. I'm like, I know. You can find them all on Amazon, but The Infinite Wisdom of the Akashic Records is my full on how to access your Akashic record book. They said, the first thing we want you to do is to teach people how to access their own Akashic records. And I said, so how do I do that? And they told me, we will give you a system to teach. And so I energetically downloaded, I literally heard and wrote this 5-step wisdom prayer system that I completely spell out in The Infinite Wisdom of the Akashic Records. And so they have given me over these years 8 different vibrational keys that make it easier for all of the galactic beings on the planet to open the door and move with ease and grace into the Akashic field. So these 8 vibrational keys, you only need one, but the 8 resonate with different galactic worlds. So because we are all starseeds, we are all very galactic, and or many of us are also very angelic. We may be primary angel or primary Pleiadian or Sirian or Arcturian. And so they have given me 8 different access keys in the form of sacred prayers to open the Akash. And they said, this is the easiest way. We want you to have many, many, many keys because you are so galactic. They said, because I have been a galactic traveler forever, that I can access, really resonate with all of the different energies of these different planets, planes, and dimensions to download and channel the energy for humanity. And so, when I teach people to access the Akashic records, which I have now been asked to do again by the record keepers online about 8 times a year. So I literally have a workshop, a weekend workshop, January 27th and 28th, coming up in just a few weeks. And so online, I teach my 5-step wisdom prayer system to take you easily, really effortlessly into the Akasha, so that you can start to have this communication with the Akashic record keepers. So we've talked a little bit about, you know, who they are and why it's important. And let me just kind of touch base in another area, is that your soul wrote a plan, and it holds the purpose of your life in that plan. It holds the contracts about all the people you contracted to support in your life. It holds all of the information about the karmic patterns you want to complete and work through. It explains why and why we pick these, you know, challenging times in our lives, why we pick traumatic families to belong to, why many of us are here actually completing huge patterns around abuse in the world. Many of us are here to help rebalance divine masculine and divine feminine, to bring balance back to the world. One of the things the record keeper said is that until we bring balance back to the planet, we will not be able to truly ascend into the fifth dimension and higher. So as many of you are already moving into the fourth dimension, you are already bringing balance into your life, into your body, into your relationships, which is, of course, where everything starts, is with us, right? Because we are all one in this quantum field. When we do it for ourselves, we do it for everyone. And so that's why the record keepers say it's your birthright to have access to this quantum field of the Akasha and to do your own healing work, to be aware and conscious of these aspects, so that we're starting by moving outside or out of any old beliefs of victimhood, all of the old low vibrational patterns of shame and blame and guilt that has been holding humanity really tied down to this third dimensional world for hundreds of thousands of years. So the way the record keepers start to talk about unraveling this programming is that as we do our own personal work, we are unraveling some of our own cords and ropes, unwriting some of our own old contracts. Most of us have some level of vows of poverty and vows of obedience, which have kept us as locked into kind of slave patterns on the planet. And so this truly is the time to break free. And again, this is why the record keepers say accessing your own Akashic records is so empowering. And so as I teach people in my online workshops or through my book, The Infinite Wisdom of the Akashic Records, I know there's people who are just popping in, so I'll share some of the books again as I talk. That The Infinite Wisdom of the Akashic Records literally teaches my 5-step wisdom prayer system. And so what I would love to do is to bring everyone into the Akashic Records with me and do some group healing together so that we can do some unraveling of this programming that has kept us stuck. And what I've been watching this last year, and why I know the year has been challenging for many of us, is that we have been unwriting and unraveling and even just becoming conscious of some of the thoughts and ideas and programs that have held us in this place that we've been stuck in, again, for hundreds of thousands of years, or at least the last 12,000 years, if we just are looking at this round of humans that have started with slave programming that have created the belief that we are alone, that we are completely and utterly separate, that we're just little, human beings kind of stuck here in a body all by ourselves. And so as we unravel those programs, because they are just like you were in the Matrix and you're in a program that looks like this world, this family, this body, this life, this story. We know in the Akash that it's not real, that we have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of those games, those plays, those shows, on this planet over these last, for many of us, over these last 12,000 years. We've been here 500, 600, 800 lifetimes on Earth alone. So imagine all those galactic lives in there, and you have been playing in the realms of the quantum for an infinite amount of time. And so it's always really just fun to drop into our hearts and to feel that, right? To kind of know and remember that greater truth of who we are. And so I'm going to do a brief guided visualization to bring you into the Akashic Records with me as a group. And then I will see what the record keepers want to unwrite and unravel. So we'll do a group healing together. And all you need to do is sit back and close your eyes if you can, and just drop into your heart, because of course, our heart is our own personal portal into infinite wisdom, into the Akasha, into so much memory and energy of who you truly are. So being in your sacred heart, which is a blend of your fourth chakra heart and your high heart, which is up by your thymus, high on your chest. And so we'll start by opening our fourth chakra heart and inviting it to open and expand as wide as your body. And I always see it as a beautiful golden spinning ball of light, but it could be any color. And then we invite our sacred heart, our high heart, to also open and expand as wide as our body and merge and blend with the fourth chakra, creating a beautiful sacred heart portal. Just letting yourself feel that love and expanse as we ask the divine lords of unconditional love to help us center fully in this moment as we create this sacred space. Please wrap us in your love and protection and allow us to travel to the highest realms of the Akasha available to us today. Please help as we lay our multidimensional sacred hearts open to divine love and release all resistance. Lords of the Akashic Record, please guide us to the deepest truth we can access now. Support us in healing and releasing that which no longer serves on our true path. We give great thanks for your divine love and support on these journeys today. And I'm noticing a beautiful silvery blue column of light all around the planet, encompassing us and connecting us into the quantum field source energy of the Akash. And we ask our collective record keepers and your personal record keepers, who I feel are dropping in for everyone who's here in this very now moment, which it always is in the quantum. Whether you're listening today or tomorrow or again and again, joining us in this column of Akashic light and energy, releasing and unraveling programming to support our ascension in to the higher realms of energy with ease and grace. And so I'm hearing the record keepers wanting to go all the way back, probably about 25. Well, there's leaps in there. We've had many different rounds of humans. And so we've had programming that connects into kind of slave programming all the way back. Well, they're going to go back 100,000 years. And so the way I see this is they go really back 100,000 years in this quantum spinning field of the all, where there is no time and space. And energetically, they shine the light of truth in the quantum on these programs that were written to hold us in slavery, in the belief that we are here in service to greater gods instead of in service to ourselves, to our lives, to our world, to our humanity, to our families, that we are free, truly, truly free. And so they are unraveling ancient, ancient slave programmings from 100,000 years ago. And I see that as that energy spins in the quantum, there are other times, there are other worlds, there's other galactic beings who have created versions of humans and programmed them and programmed the planet, our beautiful Gaia, that have held her locked down for so long. And we are asking the Akashic beings of light to unravel, unwrite, deprogram all of these programs that have held Earth and, of course, us as the humans riding upon her, locked down in this low vibrational energy and belief that we are alone, that we are powerless, that we are just simple little humans. Because as we know, that is not the truth of who we are as infinite, ancient, wise, creator beings of light. And so I'm seeing, and you may be feeling, and I definitely feel so much of it in the ascension chakra at the back of the neck, all of that energy being released from the body, from the brain, that we are releasing all of that aloneness, abandonment energy, slave programming. So keep breathing. And I feel that running through our brains, through both hemispheres of our brains, because of course that's where we track and we think and we believe in that conscious level and those unconscious levels. And so our record keepers are unwriting and really healing our brains and removing this energy of programming. I actually believe that eventually we will start to see this in our DNA as we are really removing those pieces or patterns that have kept us in believing that we are singular beings having one experience, that we are in service to the gods, God or gods, that we are really enslaved in a sense. And so you might feel that now. I'm feeling it in my crown and in both hemispheres. So you may be feeling your head tinkling and buzzing all over. As we unravel and unwrite and deprogram ourselves from these old patterns that have kept us locked down for so long. And I'm seeing it also in our fifth chakra, so that it makes it easier for us to speak our truth, to not feel so stifled, to releasing the fear of talking about who we are, what we know, what we think, see, feel, all the multi-dimensions that you're accessing. How many of you are afraid to tell anybody about that, right? We're unwriting those programmings that are stay small, stay quiet. It's the only way to stay safe and stay alive. And those programs are really rampant in the last 12,000 years. Certainly we've been killed and hurt and harmed and imprisoned in so many lifetimes for speaking out and speaking our truth and being different. So take a couple of nice deep breaths. Feel your fifth chakra opening and expanding. You probably feel your third eye and sixth chakra opening and expanding. I see our brains are rebalancing and rewiring. Just with this consciousness dropping in and into our sacred heart. Again, your high heart, your fourth chakra, creating this big expanded sacred heart energy. And they're releasing any of the old programming from our heart. Again, that has kept us from being the light and the love and the truth that you are. So I see our hearts just changing colors and getting bigger and bigger and bigger. So you might feel your heart expanding and filling the room that you're in. And so we ask our record keepers and the collective record keepers, after all of this unraveling and unwriting and deprogramming of us, so this allows us to be more expansive, be a higher vibration, access more of our galactic memories that are useful for us. And so we ask our record keepers to fill us with the highest Akashic energy, information, gifts, talents, consciousness that we can now hold after this collective rewriting and healing. We just take a couple of nice deep breaths and we anchor it all the way down into our physical bodies, inviting this new information to come into our 75 trillion cells and anchor it in all the way down into our bodies in so many beautiful ways. And we give great thanks to the Akashic record keepers for holding us and supporting us to access the Akasha, to transform our lives and to create a beautiful fourth and fifth light, fifth dimensional new world for humanity. And we close and lock the records for now, and so it is. Blessed be.